Lee, man,
Yes, sir.
we're here
We are here.
live YouTube.
Live YouTube. We said we're doing it.
How do you feel about this right now?
I don't know. Nah, I feel magnificent. I'm just playing.
I mean, it's surreal for me, to be honest with you. And the episode we're doing right now fits this to a T.
To a T.
So do you want to let them know what the episode
I'd be
is?
glad to. So I was thinking I had a, epiphany, or God really spoke to me. I was like, man, we hear about no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So then I'm thinking, okay, let's take it a little step further, like put the full armor of God on. And so you're getting some of that and thinking, that says, okay, if no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and then put the full armor of God on. What happens if you're the weapon? So, like, what do you think about when I say, like, no weapon, like, so it's coming from somewhere outside, but it's literally, like, you could be your worst enemy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for me, doing that is I still feel like it's the enemy,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I feel like it's more like, because we're all about mindset.
We are.
And I feel like when you say that, it triggers mindset for me.
Yeah.
Like when you go through stuff, like situations that it's going to test you, that's what you're talking about for me.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is a good example of that might be? Let no weapon formed against me. I know I can give an example.
Man.
I mean, or you can go from today that you were saying.
We could go today.
Use today, yeah.
Okay, so today, now, this is how it goes down.
Right.
We haven't, well, I wouldn't say we haven't, but like a full load run with everything set up. We have not, I wouldn't say we've done one to a T like that.
Right.
So here's the situation. I've got to get the scene set up on your laptop when I get here. I got to get the camera set up, the mic set up, the roadcaster set up. Everything, all this stuff has got to get set up. I mean, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get there 30 minutes early.
Early to do it.
30 minutes early to do this.
Yeah, we're going to plan ahead and be prepared. And be early.
It gets to the point where I actually look up and see how long it's going to take me and plan, okay, I'm leaving at this time. I left at the time that I would get here, 30 minutes before. I get out of work. I get stopped by a train.
The train.
And it's not a fast train. It's a slow train. Probably the slowest train I've ever been a part of.
It's the slowest train ever.
Then I'm like, okay, it's just a train. Then I get on 75. I get past Locust Grove. So you know what happens when you get past Locust Grove? Right. There's no exit. Like you can't get off the freeway.
Oh yeah, you're on.
Until you get to your exit.
That's it.
And there's a bad accident. Basically what it was a car caught fire. And they had a lane shut down. And guess where the fire was at? About a quarter mile past your exit. So I'm thinking, I'm going to get here 30 minutes early. I got here at the same time I usually get here.
Right.
And that's with everything running properly the way we want it to. Then we run into some snags with getting the cameras and stuff set up.
Mm.
So I mean, like, think about this. Think about this. You have all this stuff happen to you
Right. Or for you,
or for you.
depending on how you look at it.
Exactly. So at what point is it where you become your own enemy, the
Yeah.
weapon?
Yeah. And I saw you, man.
Oh man.
I saw you.
And I,
This is your lane, so
Yeah,
I don't want to
this
say
is
I'm
my
like
lane.
I'm
This is my
helpless. So I'm
lane.
like, okay, like I don't know what to tell you, man.
Right.
Like I just gotta watch
Right.
you go through your process and hopefully let you figure it out and not come unglued.
Yeah. Well, I think a part of it is wanting to get it right the first time.
Yeah.
And we all know
Yeah, we know, man.
you can't, but it's having the due diligence to just do it and get through it.
Yeah, and be willing to put something out and not allow yourself to be the weapon.
Right.
So, like, say for instance, if you're wanting to build a business, so then your financial literacy, your financial thermostat might come into play with credit and debt and how you make moves and certain things. And you're a spender, but you really got to change. Like, oh, you can't just put all that stuff on your credit card to start your business. So that might be a thought process compared to like preference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That could be a personal circumstances. But it's just to say, like, if you were to run up credit and not leverage it to what is utilized to make happen, that could in turns be you making wrong choices that ends up making you the weapon.
Right.
That you're for. It's not. We always want to think outside, like, oh, the enemy, or oh, the adversary, oh, the devil, and it's like, no, you're the one that ate the whole pizza.
Yeah.
You're the one that didn't go and get your movement in.
Mm.
You're the one that your meals weren't prepped or your grocery shopping wasn't on point. And then you made poor choices, poor decisions, and became the weapon that you're saying, please let no weapon formed against me. So that's what I was thinking about, like really and truly sitting in within yourself to say, hey, what does that look like? And in what areas of in my life that might literally show up?
Yeah.
That, say for instance, the day that we want to do this episode is the day you get caught by a train. Like,
Yeah.
is that not like by design?
Right.
Just to see, like, okay, how are you going to show up? How are you going to respond? Are you going to get into your flesh? Is certain emotions going to rear up? That like, oh, well, what about this? And what about that? And, oh, I could have did this. And, oh, I could have did that. It's like, no. Because I couldn't help but hearing that when you got caught by the train and there was a car on fire.
Yeah.
That was the train your protection? And I know you might say it was past, quarter past eggs. I get all that. But in the grand scheme of things, is it possible that everything was orchestrated in this circumstance for your protection? Or simply just to test, like, okay, y'all want to do that kind of podcast? Let's see.
Let's find out. Let's see if you can get that podcast now.
Let's see if you.
Let's find out. And it's so ironic. Even before we decided to do this kind of episode, like we didn't know this was gonna happen.
No.
We didn't know.
Didn't know.
But I was, in the scripture, like Isaiah 54:17, no weapon that is fashioned against you shall succeed.
Mm-hmm.
The key is you have to understand there's going to be a weapon.
There's going to be a weapon.
There's nothing saying there's not going to be a weapon.
Right.
But it's not going to succeed in defeating you.
Right.
That's the key. You have to understand these weapons are out there. It's called the enemy.
Yeah.
And he prowls around. And then I actually, like last week, Lee,
yeah.
I've been wanting this book.
Uh-huh.
I've been wanting to read this book. And it's Louis Giglio's "Don't Give the Enemy a Seat at Your Table."
That's wonderful.
And that was before we even did this episode.
Before we even did it.
And he talks about this. I mean, you dealing with those situations, how you deal with them, and how you trust in God,
right,
to pull you through certain situations is key, because he's the one that's prepared the table for you. He's prepared the table.
He's prepared the table.
You get to sit down and have dinner, lunch, breakfast with him, whatever it is. So don't let the enemy have a seat at your table.
Right.
Like that's
and it was so great when I connected it for myself, saying like, man, we pray these prayers. I pray these prayers. And I really need to be able to look at myself and reflect and say, are the choices that I'm making, are they self-sabotaging? Am I my own worst enemy?
right.
Am I the weapon that I'm praying for protection from? Like, really, truly, literally, like, am I the weapon?
It's I believe it's the mind. I believe it's your mindset. Like that is like the enemy's easiest, like the one thing he tries to get is to get into your head. And
Like,
causes you to self-sabotage yourself.
yeah, especially when, I mean, we talk about it all the time. Oh, how you doing? I'm okay. Like, that's a weapon.
Oh, I don't like,
That's,
no.
That's a weapon.
Another one is you ask them a question and they say, I don't know.
The infamous I
don't know.
know.
That's
And what makes it really bad is when you ask them something that you know they do know.
yeah.
And they just fill space, and it's like you just became the weapon.
Right.
Like you said a minute ago.
Right.
It's not that there's not weapons. They're there, but are you going to put the full armor of God on, and then are you going to not let that weapon be you? Like, we don't want no type button that you see in games or movies or whatever. We don't want self-destruct.
No, not at all.
We do not want the self-destruct. So, like, even when you were going through your process with the podcast and I was looking at you, and I was, I'm an encourager. Like, I mean, I want to encourage you.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, man, it's going good, man. We're good. Like, we're fine. It's going fine. We're going to be fine. Everything's going the way we needed to go. Just keep going. Just keep doing your thing. It's all good. Because sometimes I think you're so hard on yourself,
right,
that it wasn't even outside influence that was making you to feel worse. But with some people, it might be like, oh, well, what will Lee think in this instance? Or what would my mother think? Or what would my wife think? Or what would my children think? And you have to do your best.
Right.
Don't play those games and get into the energy of like, well, I'm supposed to have this figured out and it's not working.
Yeah.
That it makes you look a certain way. And that's like, if that's not a trick, because especially if you use with me and you, like, all I can do is be like, oh, what'd you think about this? Or what'd you think about that? Or have you tried this? And in some instances that might help, but in some instances, like, come on, man.
It's not, yeah.
Why are you asking me this elementary, did I do this? Did I do that? Like, of course I did that, Lee. Like, that's not helping me right now, man. So you end up having to just be like, okay, well, I got to be quiet and let him keep going through his process.
Go through his process.
Yeah. Just let him do his thing.
I mean, I get that. It's totally.
But where else does that apply is the key, man. To really think. So we said something about business. We said something about meals. We said something about movement. We've talked about mindset.
Yep.
How could you say, if we were to talk about meetups or a mentor, you being your own weapons, like, oh, well, I don't think I should go to that meetup, or I don't think that person will talk to me or want to call me, or I don't know. And it's like, the only way you're going to formulate the perspective to find out is to go and find out, or to make the call. But to keep playing the games to be like, what if? That's you becoming a weapon. We don't need to play those games with ourselves. What we need to do, what we choose to do, is not self destruct, not self sabotage, to
Mm-hmm.
be magnificent, to speak life, to think life, to pray life, and look at it from the perspective of, hey, the train might have actually spared you or saved you or put you on a different course just to give you the opportunity to have victory over yourself.
Right.
Because you don't never get, like, if you were 2 hours early, you don't get caught by the train. Like, if you're early, you never get caught by the train. It's when you put parameters on it, when you put certain, oh, it's got to be like this,
Mm,
and you're attached to a certain outcome that you created in your imagination,
right.
that, as you can see, what talking today isn't real.
Right.
And then you hold on to, like, but it's supposed to be like this. And I was like, but this is what we
Well,
have. Like, we've got this today.
right. And I feel like that's where like the faith based part, the faith in God, making sure things are going to happen the way they're supposed to happen.
Mm,
It's relinquishing that control.
right,
So like for me with this situation, I wanted to get here at 4.
right.
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Did not happen at all. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, how you brought it up, I'm trying to control something that I can't really actually control. It's more of a estimation, or what could possibly happen.
Mm,
Like that's what I want to happen.
right,
That doesn't mean it's going to happen. But at the same time, you can't be attached to the outcome of what happens, and you can't feed into it. You got to put your faith in understanding like there was a reason for why this happened for a certain reason.
it was.
And I may not ever understand it, but I ain't going to focus on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't focus. I mean, if
Yeah.
I had to say, is that and that's where the victories had, to see, like, okay, did they, because the natural inclination, and you could speak to this, me personally, I didn't think this, but I just want to know if you thought it, and just be honest, and if you didn't, fine. How close, or did the thought pop in your mind to say, we're not doing the video this time? Like, we're not gonna. Let's just do the.
I
Let's just do
wouldn't.
what we've been doing.
Man,
Like,
I
did
would
that come
probably.
up, or was it like
It
borderline?
did
Like,
it did come up, but to tell you that we're not gonna do it, I wouldn't probably even give it 15%,
that's good.
because it's like
That's good.
we get the feedback from this.
Right. So that's
You get the
that's where
feedback.
it lies right there. To see the growth, to say, hey, no matter what transpires,
Right.
basically everything's off.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And are we still going to show up at the level that we're capable of showing up and do something? And that's
You
just a
got it.
different deal.
It's a different level.
And that's letting no weapon formed against you prosper, and making sure that, to take it a step further, that you are not the weapon.
Right. You're not. You're not the weapon.
Because there's no point if you put the full armor of God on and you're containing the negativity.
No.
Like, you basically entrapped the enemy. So we really got to be cognizant of this, of how we're showing up. What's our message to the world? Are we conveying magnificence whenever possible? And that's just what we're all about. And I'm glad that we were able to control the controllables. And that's our
Right.
mindset, and that's how we show up.
Exactly. Love it, man.
Yeah, love it.
Love it. I mean, how do you like the setup, though, man?
Man, it's nice.
How do you
man.
like the setup?
It's nice and getting better. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I know everybody else. Like, I was talking to one of my clients, and he was like, "Oh man, I can't wait. It's overdue, man. Y'all.
It is overdue. I will be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean,
It's overdue. But I'm telling you,
yeah.
like,
it's good.
where I was, like, you got to
It's
understand.
our timing. It's in our time.
You got to, like, for me, I'm not I'm not a sound engineer. I'm not like a media.
Oh,
I'm
you are now.
but man, going through this,
Uh, you are
it's
now.
it's something that's a part of me that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
It just feels
Good.
natural,
Yeah.
good, and I just love it,
I
man.
enjoy.
And it's
I
gonna get
really.
better.
I enjoy watching
It's
you,
gonna
man.
get better.
I enjoy watching you. I enjoy seeing you play your role. I'm privileged to know you and privileged to work alongside with you on this podcast. And I just know what's in store if we, not if, what is that? Thank you. Great catch. When we keep showing up
Right.
the way we are and the way we're capable of,
Mm-hmm.
there's nowhere to go but up from here. So I'm forever grateful and excited for what's to come.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is a new beginning, man.
New
It's new.
chapter.
It's a new chapter.
Yeah. So, all right, man. I
But
feel
yeah,
good
man.
about it, man. Till next time.
This is your co-host here, Braxton Matson, and Lee and I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We hope you've enjoyed it just as much as we did making it, but we couldn't do it without you. So please hit that like button, leave us a rating, leave us a review. Let us know what topic or subject that you would like us to talk about in your journey from mediocre to magnificent. But most of all, share it. Be the ripple effect of magnificence, and know that you are magnificent in everything you do. Till next time.